Hail unto thee, who art raw in thy rising. Hail unto thee, who art raw in thy strength, who travellest over the heavens in thy bark at the uprising of the sun. Tahuti standeth in his splendor at the prow, and Rahur abideth at the helm. Hail unto thee from the abodes of night. Unity uttermost showed, I adore the might of thy breath, supreme and terrible God, who makest the gods in death to tremble before thee. I adore thee. Appear on the throne of Ra, open the ways of the Ku, lighten the ways of the Ka. The ways of the Kabs runs through to steer me or still me. Aum, let it kill me. The light is mine, its rays consume me. I have made a secret door into the house of Ra and tomb of Kephra and Ahithur. I am thy Theban, O Mentu, the prophet Ankafne Kansu. By Besna Maut my breast I beat, by wise Tanich I weave my spell. Show thy star splendor, O Nuit. Bid me within thine house to dwell, O winged snake of light Hadit. Abide with me, Rahur Kuit. Now that's morning resh as I was taught by Phyllis Seckler, my superior, with one little exception there. She taught me Aum let it fill me. And I'm happy to do Aum let it fill me too, because that section of the Book of the Law was not the dictated section of the Book of the Law, but an inserted paraphrase from the Stele of Revealing. So I'm happy with Phil, and I was taught Phil. But I'm also, it makes more sense, and I think historically and scholastically accurate to say kill, but don't listen to me. That was morning resh. There's an adoration that's done exactly the same way with just a few little insertions differently for noontime and sunset and midnight. And I want to talk a little about that today, because it seems like, well, it's kind of a knee-jerk thing that you would do sort of in a monastic discipline, like saying blessing or grace or will, if you will, before eating. Okay, and it's just something that you might think is just sort of a superficial tipping your hat in recognition of the sun as the source of your life and all life on the planet, and 4 times a day. And when you think about it, how many other people consciously, with full intent, think about the sun 4 times a day in that particular devotional manner. But it's a lot more than that. And just like the early rituals that new magicians are encouraged to learn, like the banishment ritual, the pentagram and hexagram and things like that, they teach you many things at the same time. And one of the important things that the solar adorations, or Liber Resh, teaches you is the assumption of God forms. And when you first read the ritual, you go, "Boy, this is really simple. I can memorize it, very fast, and do it in the morning, and freak out my neighbors and impress my family and lodge." Uh, but you're supposed to be doing quite a bit of other things, and that's what I want to talk to you today. And I'm going to read it directly from what Crowley has to say about it. But and I'm going to be reading from what I've included in the Magick of Aleister Crowley. This is an older edition. But first, I'm going to read you my notes and comments on the ritual before I actually go through it. The imagery, the drama, if you will, of this ritual is that of the Egyptians' solar barge or bark, a boat, which every evening at sunset carries the glorified Osiris from the western horizon through the land of the dead and brings the eternal sun safely under the earth to draw on the eastern horizon each morning as Ra. Now, it's a pretty dramatic ritual. If you've seen the movie Gods of Egypt, it's pretty corny movie. But Jeffrey Rush plays Ra, okay? And we go with him in his nighttime voyage fighting the powers of darkness, Typhon. And it's a life and death struggle every night, okay? And he always brings the sun back in the morning. It's really cool. But that's the image here, okay? And you've seen it in a million Egyptian art vignettes. You got this boat, and you got Tahuti, the ibis-headed god, standing at the prow, and you've got the hawk-headed Ra in the back guiding the thing, and you've got this sort of glorified Osiris as a mummy right in the middle, and these guys are taking him around. But I think DuQuette says that. Okay. Here are the gods that we talk about in Liber Resh. Tahuti, or Thoth, the ibis-headed psychopomp of the Egyptians. Psychopomp is like the guide, the leader, your hegemon of the dead. Hermes was a psychopomp, okay, because he ushers the dead to the underworld, and in the case of Persephone or somebody, brings them back, So the ibis-headed psychopomp of the Egyptians is stationed at the prow, and Horus, the son of the sun, acts as the divine helmsman. Now, Ahathor, or Hathor, the Egyptian Venus, whose month is November, Scorpio. She marks the cross quarter of the year when darkness triumphs over light. Tum, or Tmu, god of war, the setting sun, god of the sun at night. Kefra, as the Egyptian desert scarab beetle perpetually rolls a ball of dung in which her eggs are stored, so too Kefra, the celestial scarab, rolls the sphere of the sun across the heavens. Okay, now, according to some accounts, because it's going to say after each of these rites, or after each of these little invocations, you give the sign of silence, and afterwards shalt perform the adoration that is taught thee by thy superior. Then you do compose thyself to holy meditation. Okay, now these adorations aren't actually specifically called out in Liber Resh itself, but it tells you to do it as you're taught by your superior. And like I mentioned right at first, my superior taught me to repeat those sections, those verses that were inserted into the Book of the Law by Crowley, starting with Unity Uttermost Showed. Okay. So that's the author's notes here and comments on this section. And here is straightforward Liber Resh. And these are the adorations to be performed by aspirants to the AA. Let him greet the sun at dawn, facing east and giving the sign of his grade. Okay, I'm going to digress right away. Now, what you heard me do at the very opening of today's talk was, over the years, when I'm doing Resh alone, I sing it like that. I made up that simple sort of Gregorian-esque melody chant. And I do it so I can pause and really concentrate instead of going, "Hail unto thee who around thy rising, even unto thee who around thy strength shall." It puts me someplace else to sing it, to chant it like that. Okay. But then it says, you greet the sun in the morning in the east. That's where it appears to be coming up. And you give the sign of your grade. Now, if you're on Facebook, you've noticed that this morning I put 4 images of constants making the early signs of the grade for 1 or 10, 9, 8, 7. Now, when you give the sign of your grade, you're turning your body into a symbol. And you may think, well, who's watching? Who cares? You do. Turning your body into a symbol is one step better than imagining the symbol in your head. It's literally grounding you. It's bringing your body, turning it into a symbol, and then grounding it right here in the world of Asiya, time, space. Now, in magic, on the magical plane, call it the astral, call it whatever, the other side, symbols are living things. And when you in a vision or on the magical plane, when you see a living creature of some kind or a living thing, a plant, it's a symbol for something. On the magical plane, living things are symbols. And symbols are living things. And when you turn your body into a symbol, on the magic plane, you're turning yourself into a magical living thing. So you give the sign of your grade as if to affirm and then ground that affirmation of where you're operating from, the level of consciousness that you're at least striving, doing the work to be standing on that level of consciousness. So when you're first taught even if you're not officially in an aspirant to the AA, or even if you're not officially belong to any group or have any official teacher or anything else, the default sign that you make is that of the God set fighting, or number one. One equals 10, and that's just the simple. I can probably find Constance's picture here someplace. If I can look at it and get it fast enough for us. Okay, it's that one I got my finger on right there. Okay, you got 1 foot forward there. You can see it better. The other hand in back of you, and sort of a Statue of Liberty look there. Okay. So you say, "This is who I am." Okay. And if you're confident that you're of another grade, there's a sign for every one of those grades. You give that sign. You're declaring, "Here I am as a magical being, and I'm facing the sun at the moment." Now, just because you do it in the east, and then at noon you do it in the south, and the sunset you do it in the west, and at midnight you do it in the north, just because you seem to be looking in another direction. There's the front yard, and then there's the side yard, and then there's the backyard, and then there's the neighbor's fence over there. You're not moving. You are connected in a straight line to the sun. And the earth is going around beneath your feet. So at noon, you and the sun are facing each other. And that line never, never breaks. That you stay connected to the sun as the earth moves beneath your feet. When you look at it that way, it's awesomely cool. And you never break contact with the sun. Okay, I'm going to just quickly read all of these, and we'll call it a day. Let him greet the sun at dawn, facing east, giving the sign of his grade, and then let him say in a loud voice, "Hail unto thee who art Ra in thy rising, even unto thee who art Ra in thy strength, who travellest over the heavens in thy bark at the uprising of the sun. Tahuti standeth in his splendor at the prow, and Rahur abideth at the helm. Hail unto thee from the abodes of night." Now remember what it said. After each of these invocations, thou shalt give the sign of silence, and thou shalt perform the adoration that is taught to thee by thy superior. Then do thou compose thyself unto holy meditation. The sign of silence is the assumption of the God form Hur Parkrat, or Harpocrates, the quiet brother of the Horus twins. Now, in another note he says, "It is also better if in these adorations thou assume the God form of whom thou adorest, as if thou didst unite with him in the adoration of that which is beyond him." Let's say that you are totally adoring a specific god. let's even get out of the Egyptian pantheon here for a second. Let's say you are currently in a devotional uh, worship program of Zeus. As you do all of this other stuff in the ritual, you assume the god form of Zeus, that beautiful, almost beneficent Santa Claus, strong image of Zeus. Okay? You assume that god form. You envelop its giant divine form all around you. And that's the character in which you are doing this adoration ritual. Because what you're really worshiping is even beyond that. So it's like you become Zeus so that Zeus can aspire to what is beyond Zeusness. It is better if in these adorations thou assume the God form of whom thou adorest, as if thou didst unite with him in the adoration of that which is beyond him. Now are you sort of getting an idea why I say this is a much greater ritual. Okay, but I digress. Also at noon, let him greet the sun, facing the south, giving the sign of his grade. And let him say in a loud voice, Hail unto thee who art Ahathur in thy triumphing, even unto thee who art Ahathur in thy beauty, who travellest over the heavens in thy bark at the mid-course of the sun. Tahuti standeth in his splendor at the prow, and Rahur abideth at the helm. Hail unto thee from the abodes of morning. And then your adorations and assumption of God forms and meditation. Also at sunset, let him greet the sun facing west, giving the sign of his grade, and let him say in a loud voice, Hail unto thee who art Tum in thy setting, even unto thee who art Tum in thy joy, who travellest over the heavens in thy bark at the down-going of the sun. Tahuti standeth in his splendor at the prow, and Rahur abideth at the helm. Hail unto thee from the abodes of day. And then all of that other stuff. Lastly, at midnight, let him greet the sun facing north, giving the sign of his grade, and let him say in a loud voice, Hail unto thee who art Kephra in thy hiding, even unto thee who art Kephra in thy silence, who travellest over the heavens in thy bark at the midnight hour of the sun. Tahuti standeth in his splendor at the prow, and Rahur abideth at the helm. Hail unto thee from the abodes of evening. And afterwards, the sign of silence. If for no other reason, after each one of these, you assume the God form of Hur Par Krat. If there's no another goal, if there's no other magical reason, if there's no other magic that you do, assume the God form Harpocrates, who is silent, who is innocent, who is so innocent no attack can find a place to hook its evil into you. It's better than any banishing in the world. It's better than any resistance to attack. If you think you're being cursed or magically attacked, don't try to stop it. Don't resist it. Don't give it flesh to hang its hook into. Be pure, silent innocence. There's no defense any more powerful than your absolute innocence. But anyway, that's that. And like I did at the very first, instead of doing it in a loud voice, because I've always lived in a neighborhood where other human beings live, I don't like to be screaming stuff all the time. So when I do it alone, I do that little chant. Anyway, wow, that's it for today. I'm sorry I went so long. Tomorrow is Sunday school. I don't know if you know, but I got the car back. I finally got my car back. I'm about close to $3,000 poor, which to me is a really big thing. But I got my car smogged, and it's much safer than it was. So I'm lucky to be able to do it. And thanks to Sister Elizabeth and Brother Quinn for giving me a ride back and forth to the people that were holding my car ransom, but fixing it. And thank all of you for your good wishes. It seems like it worked out okay. Until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.